Hello, ladies and gentlemen, and welcome back to the Ultimate Doctor Who Marathon. This is the theoretical look at a classic Doctor Who story plus a bunch of big finish dramas, one episode a day, 7 days a week. Now, before we begin, because in 2019, YouTube was caught data mining the information of underage users, therefore violating the Children's Online Privacy Protection Act, or COPPA, they reached a settlement with the United States government to dodge and implemented new policy meant to dodge responsibility and scapegoat creators, meaning I have to ensure everyone understands that this video is not meant for children. It's not targeted at kids. It is not marketed towards kids. Doctor Who is a family show that children can watch, of course, but this video, as with all of the videos on my channel, are looking at the show from an adult perspective, and therefore viewer discretion is advised. Now, it is the 30th of September, 2020, and oddly enough, we are in sort of a period where there are quite a few single-episode Doctor Who stories, today's being one of them. This is the 5th Doctor's installment of Classic Doctor's New Monsters, Volume 1. In the Tom Baker, we covered a story from Volume 2, and the 5th Doctor has another story in Volume 2, but this is a Volume 1 story, Fallen Angels, written by Phil Mulrine, and as the title suggests, and you can see from the cover, this is a story that features the Weeping Angels, you already have something very, very interesting there in the fact that, well, it's a story with the Weeping Angels on audio. The Weeping Angels, of course, being a villain created for the new series, and specifically based on a visual gimmick. Specifically the gimmick of, if you're looking at them, they can't move, but when you look away, they move, and they come in and send you back in time, and then feed off your displaced time energy, the life you would have lived. A genuinely good idea for a monster, and well affected in the new series. But as they appear here on audio, Phil Mulrine actually has, that means that this is an audio drama where quite a lot of it is going to be just having to describe, the angels moved closer. There's nothing wrong with that, except that, Phil Mulrine, the author of the story, perhaps didn't do the best job of making sure that aspect of the script was well integrated, so you're not entirely looking like, okay, we get it, the angels are moving closer. It's something like that where which is kind of a shame, simply because you could have something more interesting and more built into the story itself. It's not a crazy amazing sort of thing. It's just kind of a story that is kind of there. You kind of see it, and you have to deal sort of with that entire thing. It's not the it's not everything that the story does, and it's not the story's not bad. It's actually mostly enjoyable. It's just it makes it very kind of hard to listen to. It's not hard to listen to, just the dialogue kind of gets a little stilted when you have that as the villains, though they are a threat, and the sound design of this story actually does a really good job of giving cues with sort of with sort of quick strings, almost like suspense screens. Howard Carter designed this story and did the music for it, and it's one where you do hear the you get the, you know, the story as it is, and you know, it's solid. It helps enhance things. Of course, you know, that being said, the story itself is, you know, it's good. It's not an amazing sort of, wow, this will knock you out of the park. No, it's a fun hour-long run around, sort of pseudo-historical with the Weeping Angels, where, you know, we start in the then present day of 2015. So this was released in 2016, so, you know, it's quite there. It's there. It's you know, it's a very, very interesting sort of idea. Yeah. So there are, you know, a lot of things, you know, that this story does that you know, are different, and they create conflict. Like, we go back to the Renaissance with the artist Michelangelo. A couple from modern day Earth is taken back, and it turns out the Doctor, they sadly, you know, sort of write their own timeline, but they end up having to stay back in the Renaissance time, which is actually kind of an interesting ending. That ending does kind of hit, though perhaps not as emotional as Moraine probably wanted it to, but enough that you actually kind of feel for the ending, that, you know, these characters die in the past. They get to live together, you know, clearly in love, and the angels are defeated at the end, but it does make it a kind of a bittersweet ending, even if you know, even if it's not the most you know, perfect story. You know, it's just kind of, you know, kind of a little twist added onto things. It's just a runaround. I like the idea of the Weeping Angels being trapped in marble near the beginning of the Earth, a cult finding them, the cult's led by Dan Starkey, which is interesting because you think Starkey usually has sort of a comic performer, but I mean, even some of those other Big Finish work where he plays Centaurans as well, he can do a really, really good dramatic performance. You know, and the couple, interestingly, Joel, the husband, the newlywed, is played by Sacha Dhawan, who, you know, gives a great performance. You know, he's in actually quite a few Big Finish stories. He's in a couple. We've already covered him in another one, so, you know, that's actually going to be kind of interesting, considering, well, you know, he's the master in the new series, and Diane Morgan plays his wife, and they're both great. The guy playing Michelangelo is also really fun. But yeah, this is something where you do get to see, you know, the whole idea being, you know, a lot of it being kind of revolving around this one sort of thing. It's not, you know, it's not bad. It's good. Again, there are a lot of good things here and things to enjoy. But it is a story like many others where, you know, you just sort of have something kind of samey by the end. It's a fun run around, you know, good ideas, appreciation of art, but honestly, for a story like this, there perhaps were more that you could have done. You know, there's this, like, there's this thing. I mean, the angels get foiled with mirrors at the end, which is, you know, a good thing, a good, you know, a good little conclusion, even if it's not like perfectly executed. It's just a decently paced story. So you get to see, you know, stuff that's enjoyable, but isn't necessarily, you know, the most in-depth or interesting. It's a serviceable story. You'll enjoy it. Because of that, this is only being a one episode story, I probably give Fallen Angels a final score of 7 out of 10. And with that, that's actually the end of this episode. So, you know, it's a good story. It's just nothing too amazing. Really summarizes my final thoughts on it. So, of course, thank you, everybody, for watching this installment of the Ultimate Doctor Who Marathon. As always, please leave a like, comment, subscribe if you haven't already, and hit that bell icon. You know, this was a shorter episode, only one episode story. But you know, thanks for watching. You know, let's get a conversation going. Do you agree with me? Do you disagree with me? Let me know what you think down below in the comments. And join me next time when we take a look at the 5th Doctor's installment, because, you know, this is sort of a nice little era of 5th Doctor's being displaced from his companions on his own travels. We're looking at the installment in sort of the unit Lieutenant Alex Hopkins trilogy with the 5th Doctor's installment with Doctor Who, the HELLIAX Rift.